How's it going? Hope you're doing well today. We're looking at Paldea Evolved, Mr. P, the set that continues to go up in price, the set that has not been reprinted. And stay tuned for the whole video because I'm going to be showing you all of the gem rates for these cards. I already did the calculations for the gem rates. They're significantly lower than a lot of other sets, besides maybe Surging Sparks and Prismatic Evolutions. So we're going to be looking at the illustration rares, you guys. We're going to be looking at the special illustration rares and basically looking at the prices for these PSA 10s. As you can see here, the Sprigatito is $170 in a PSA 10, and that's because the gem rate is 23.4%. So we're going to be looking at most of the cards in this set, and we're going to basically compare prices throughout the set and try to figure out why these prices are so expensive. Spoiler alert, it's because of the gem mints and the difficulty in grading these cards, and the gem rates are very low. So let's go ahead and get into the video. We're starting off with the Magikarp illustration rare, currently sold for on March 1st for $1,430. We did get a sale right here from someone who was in an auction, 29 bids, and they were able to buy this card from Z&G Emporium for $659. So they got a big steal right there. They saved like $450, maybe even $500 after taxes. And another one on March 1st sold for $1,419. So right here, this one sold for $20 more on the same day afterwards. And then the next day, one sold for $659. So yeah, very expensive Magikarp, right? We'll look at the gem rate for that. Here, we're going to check out the Raichu real quick. $355 for the Raichu, sold on March 3rd. 31 bids. We had one sell on March 1st for $375 for that Raichu boy right there with the little electric just chilling and sleeping. And then we had another one February 26th, $386. So it's selling in the upwards 300s to almost $400. And then here's a Tyranitar sold on March 3rd for $420. It was buy it now or best offer. February 28th, we had one sell for $377, but you had to pay $30 for the shipping. So basically a $400 card. And so yeah, $400 to $420 card. Now let's go ahead and check out the data because we always want to be data driven, right? And here on the channel, I've done videos on Surging Sparks, Paldean Fates, Pokemon 151. So check out those videos. I made them about a week ago. So they're pretty up to date because I did all the calculations for the gem rates. So starting off with the Magikarp, here's the population, 2,047 gem 10s, graded through PSA. And the gem 10 rate for this card is 20.3%. So out of all the cards that have been graded, all the 9s, 8s, 7s, I doubt there's any 1s or 2s, but out of all the cards that have been graded, only 2,047 got a 10, and so that was 20.3%. So I add up all the other grades and I just divide by how many actually got the 10. You can see right here there's 5,540 gem 9s. So yeah, so 20.3% is the gem rate for the Magikarp. And let's go ahead and track the price. So what I love about Pokedata.io is that you can track this price right here. So this is the past 6 months. And so we can see in September of last year, it was selling for around $580 to $600. Then we could see a big price jump right here in December. It went from about $775 to $1,258. Then it kind of fell down for the rest of December. And now in February, it's risen from $1,144 in December to $1,514. So about a $400 gain roughly in about 2 months since December. So the gem rate is really low, 20.3%. And the fact that we've gotten restocks for this set. And I think at first, Scarlet and Violet Base and Paldea Evolved, they were printed pretty heavily. And then we got some restocks and they were just really available for a long time. And ever since then, we haven't officially gotten any reprints. So we'll have to see later this year or if they're even going to bother reprinting sets 1 through 4, Scarlet and Violet Base through Paradox Rift. Now let's go ahead and check out the TCG player price. We have right here in this, let's start with January, $224 in January, and now it's risen to $276. So about a $50 gain since January. For the past 3 months, since December, it's up by 45%, from $190 in December to $276. And pay attention to the volume of all the cards you're looking at. This graph right here, this card is extremely popular. You're still having 5 to 20 copies being sold on average every few days. 5 to 20 copies being sold at the price point of $276. And as you can see, let's check the last month, it just continues to go up. So people are still buying this card at this price, and so that's why the card is going up. Next, we have the Iono. It has a 48.4% gem rate. There's 4,461 gem 10's, and the price currently is $205 right now in March. And so $205 since December, it was $136. January, $156. And ever since January, it just continues in the upward direction and staying kind of stagnant at around $210 to $205. So it's been staying flat these past 2 months at around $205 to $210. The gem rate is 48.4%. So, Iono is really popular, and then we got so many copies, different versions of Iono. I do believe this card and the other copies, like from Paldea and Fates, will do well over time, because Iono is a really popular trainer. One of the most popular trainers, I feel like, since Lily and Misty. Those are kind of like the top 3, I feel like, right now for collectors in the Japanese market, and just in general, people love Iono, the character from the game Sword and Shield. So let's check out the raw price on TCG Player. We have the raw price currently at let's see, in January, let's still go December. In December, $56, spiked up to $64. In February, $64 again, and now $66. So you can see it went through a price correction in January by a few dollars, and then it went back up to $65. So looks like the new price point is kind of steadily being shifted every 2 months. It was $64, now it's $66. Let's see if it's going through a price correction right now. Looks like it already went through one at $63, and now it's at $66. So yeah, about $63 to $66 for this card, and it seems pretty stable at that price point. Most people are trying to go after those illustration rares anyways. And how much was that PSA 10, right? It was $205. Okay, the Raichu also has a low gem rate at 21.3%. So we have only 712 gem mint 10's out of all the other grades. Look at this. The 9 is 1,800, 712. So literally less than half compared to the 9. Then you still have the 8s and the 7s and the other grades if there are any. But yeah, 21.3%, everyone. That's pretty low. That's extremely low. Lower than Lost Origin sets, Fusion Strike, Evolving Skies even. All those gem rates are like in the 40s, if not the 50s. And so let's check out the price in January. This card, the Raichu, $237 in January, has been steadily going up to $306 February 1st. And now it's gone up from $306 to $383. And it looks like it's staying a little flat at $383 since towards the end of the month. So $380 for this PSA 10. People are really starting to, buy, whether it's booster boxes of Paldea Evolved, because that seems like the safer play. It's already like a $216 booster box. So even if we do get reprints, maybe it loses 20% and goes down to $180. But it's still a really desirable set because there's so many illustration rares in this set. And those illustration rares, we're going to look at the prices. Most of them are like $30 plus. Like the cheapest illustration rares may be $11, $15, but that's the cheapest. Okay, the Raichu. We already talked about the gem rate. 21.3 in a gem 10. But let's look at the price of this card. It went through a big spike. So in December, it was $37, spiked up in January to $49, spiked up again in early February to $57. And lately, you can see it's gone through a pretty strong price correction from $57 down to $50. So it's lost about $6 the past month. But if you look at the sales volume, 2 to 4 copies being sold every few days. Right here, we had 14 copies for $50. So people are still buying this card, even though it's on its way down and going through a little price correction right now. All right, we have the Tyranitar, one of the lowest gem rates. If I can see, we have the lowest as the Paldea Wooper, the Heracross, the Tinkatuff, the Ice-Q, the Floragato, and then the Tyranitar also has a really low gem rate at 18.5%. So far, the lowest gem rate we've seen out of the top chase cards. And let's see, the PSA 10 in January, $296. And then in February, $411. Went through a little small price correction towards the end of February to $390, so it lost about $20 in value. And now it's quickly gone back up from $386 to $418. So about a $20, almost a $30 gain in just a week. So oftentimes, people are selling these through auction. And so if you're on pokedata.io, you could see all the auction results right here fairly quickly for raw cards and for Gem 10s. You could see 49 people bid for this card in a Gem 10, and the sale was for $405, and that was February 24th. So now the price is $418, so it's up from $405. So yeah, Paldea Evolved is getting really popular right now. A lot of people are getting after those singles because majority of the market, wherever it flocks to, more people want to get in and more people want to cash in, and people desire these cards when they get more valuable. And even me, I should have got this card when it was $25. I got some Japanese copies because they were cheaper, and I assumed we were going to get reprints. And that's what's really interesting about market sentiment and reprints is that reprints do play a big factor. And but also, there's so much good stuff in this set that people really like this set more than I do, for sure. I feel like the majority of people like this set, where I'm like, oh, it's cool, but it's definitely not my favorite. Let's see. Tyranitar, in January, it spiked up from December from $39 to $48. Went through a few price corrections, and now it's at $49. So it's still the same price from January, and we're already in March right now. Let's see the last month. This card is really liquid at 2 to 10 copies being sold every few days. Looks like it went up from $47 to $50, so it's trending in the upward direction. But it's definitely gone through some price corrections along the way. But it's popular, and the liquidity is really strong for this card. People really value it, especially because that PSA 10 is a $418 card. So you always have that slight potential of getting that good grade, right? And I think that's what people are, banking off of. If you have a highly desirable chase card and the PSA 10 is already a $400 card, that $400 PSA 10 price might help carry the single up. Next, we have the Baxcalibur, also has a really low gem rate at 19%. In January, was selling for $125, now selling for $319, and actually $328. That is insane. This is a beautiful artwork, but this card is definitely getting pumped up. But also, I will argue that there's only 195 PSA 10s. So although it's not my favorite chase card in the set, I really think the Pokemon's great. I just personally don't like the artwork. I would rather have him be closer, maybe if they zoomed in a little bit more, but of course all the colors makes it the card. However, market sentiment always wins, and there's a small supply of PSA 10, so that kind of shows why the price, I can't believe, is $150 with the small population. But again, when cards get more popular, that's what makes the price go up, is the demand for the cards themselves. And you combine that with the low gem rate, and boom, the prices just shoot up. Look at the volume. You have 10 to 40 copies of this card. All of a sudden, this card's really popular right now. In January, it was $11. It spiked up to $55 and now $39. So definitely get this card if you want to collect it. If you're looking as an investment, you probably missed the boat on this one because it's gone in a month 160% as a gain, as a percentage gain, 160% its original price of what, $15 a month ago. So definitely get this card if you want to collect it. If you're looking to invest, man, you might have to wait until that price drops and see if it gets pumped up again when new sets come out and people start to kind of get over Paldea Evolved. Maybe the collectors have already collected and the buyouts have already happened, right? And so, but it's really interesting. Investing in Pokemon is my jam, and collecting for sure too. Next, we have the Meryl 17.6% gem rate. Looks like in January, $84.50. The PSA 10 is still only selling for $84. So, if you really want to collect the Meryl on a PSA 10, it's only an $84 slab, and the gem rate is really low. The gem rate is 17.6. So far, it is the lowest we've seen. That's pretty cool to see. It's a beautiful artwork, and there's so many other cards you can get. So maybe that's why the PSA 10 is less than the others, because it's just not as popular. But the single, look at the single. People love collecting Pokemon. Don't forget about the singles. You have 5 to 25 copies being sold. It's up 78% in the last 3 months. And January, it managed to get up to $33. Was trending real quick in the upward direction in December. A lot of people were buying this card. It drove the price up. You can see all this volume. January dropped down to $30 by the end of January, and now it's trending in the upward direction, selling at $37. And it's still going up. As we enter March, it's still trending in the upward direction. And yeah, so people are still going after this card, maybe because it's one of the cheaper cards at what was it, $37. That's not cheap though to me. Honestly, I think this set's cool, but it's definitely not my favorite. But the thing is that there's just so much value in this set overall. All the prices have gone up. The booster boxes are really going to do well over time because the prices on these cards are insane. And Paldea Evolved is one of the biggest sets in Scarlet and Violet because it's a combination of 3 sets from the Japanese sets, from the Japanese releases of Snow Hazard, Clayburst, and Triple Beat. So you have the largest set, I believe, in the era so far. And so, okay, next we got this Chi-Yu card. Gem rate is 54.8%, so it's a lot higher. People really like this artwork too. $75 in early January. Now it's $135. And there's 1,642 copies with the high gem rate of 54.8%. The single has gone up as well. In December, $22. Now $32 in the volume. I'm surprised this card is that popular. You have 5 to 20 copies being sold. When I was collecting this set when it first came out, Chen Pao, that snow leopard, was more popular than this Chi-Yu, and all of a sudden the Chi-Yu is popular. Go figure. Okay, the Tinkaton EX. Where is the Tinkaton? I have the gem rate right here, 46.8%. In January, it was selling for $86. Now it's selling for $100 in a PSA 10, and there's 622. Always look at this population report right here. Tinkaton EX has also gone up. December, $20. Now in February, $28. And now in March, $30. So it's still trending in the upward direction. Let's see the volume for the past month. From February, you have about 2 to 8 copies being sold. So pretty decent range of copies being sold. Next, we have the Mouse Hold. Really cool artwork with the whole family, I guess. Currently, it is the lowest gem rate now, 14.8%. I didn't know there was anything lower than 18. I guess I forgot, but 14.8%. That's why you have the PSA 10 price, you guys, of $270. There's only 93 copies, and if people really want to collect this set, and I guess collect the illustration rares and PSA 10s, there's so many you have to collect. And if you want to collect this one, or hold it for future value, it's going to cost you $270 right now. Back in December, it was $200. So it was already in December an expensive PSA 10. And in September, it was $100. So September would have been the time to go in on that mouse hold. Really cool artwork and cute at the same time. Let's see, it's gone up 86% in the past 3 months. In December, it was only a $16 card. Now it's gone up to $32, and it's actually trending in the upward direction from $32 down to $29 this past month of February. You do see a pretty good, decent amount of volume. For me, it's not, I wouldn't, a lot of these cards, like the mouse hold and the Merrill, I probably wouldn't have bought in because we heard Surging Sparks is coming out, which is a great set. Prismatic Evolutions. There's all these other sets to get into, but now with the demand of Pokemon, all these sets are selling out. There's like no supply for, I guess there is supply for Prismatic, but it's more limited. Pokemon 151 is a little more limited after Blooming Waters. Now we have those Pokemon 151 booster bundles you can get out for like $50, $55. I think those are definitely great investments. And people are turning to these earlier sets, Obsidian Flames. I did a video on that. Check out those PSA 10 gem rates and the prices. I did that last week. But people are starting to get into these earlier sets because there hasn't been reprints. And so next we have this Skeledirge, only $108 in a PSA 10. The gem rate is one of the highest at 60.5%. So it's gone up from December at $74 up to $108. So it's up $30 in the past 3 months for the PSA 10 Skeledirge. It's a really popular special illustration rare. I personally really do like the artwork. I wish it was a little zoomed in a little bit, but it's still pretty cool how they're shopping, and the whole evolution line of all these cards, like the Quaquaval and the Quaxley and the Fuecoco and the Sprigatito, they all have like similar, I think it was maybe the same artist that drew all 3 copies or all 3 evolutions for each of these starters. So it's pretty nice to have that in a set. And let's look at the price right here. In December, it was only $20. I should have got maybe a copy or two. And now it's gone up from $20 in December. Yeah, $20 in December up to $27. And the last month, the volume looks to be 4 to 12 copies being sold every few days. And it's trending in the upward direction pretty fast at $24 in February, now to $28. So it's still going up, and a lot of copies are being sold, probably because it's a special illustration rare. And so, those tend to be rarer in the set. Next, we have the Sprigatito, 23.4% gem rate. There's only 268 copies. That's a really gem rate. That's a really low gem rate. Compared to, most sets, you get like 40, maybe 50% gem rates. But this set, the print quality wasn't the best. And at the time, too, PSA lowered their standards for PSA to be 60-40 on the centering of the card, right? Right here, you can see the centering on the left and right side, 60-40. Now the requirements have just changed about a week or two ago. PSA guidelines now say it has to be 55-45. So on the front. So it's going to be a lot harder to get these cards in PSA 10s, which is going to cause these prices probably to go up further throughout the rest of the year. So that's my advice, is that if you're looking to get any of these investment purposes, look at the gem rates, look at the cards you're trying to get, and maybe even look at the singles. This PSA 10, $170. In January, $116. So it's up from $116 to $170. So that's about a $55 gain in the past 3 months. So many cool illustrations in this set, so much value in this set. The raw card in January was $16, and now it's $23. And the volume's pretty good at 5 to 10 copies being sold recently for $24. So the Sprigatito is doing well. Here's the Frigibacks too. I forgot. This is also another evolution line that has a similar artwork, probably the same artist. and it's the Frigibax. So let's check out that Frigibax gem rate. Frigibax. I feel like I should have it here. Tyranitar, Miss Magus, Masquerade. So I don't see it right here, guys, but let's check out the PSA 10. There's only 112 PSA 10s. Current price is $183. And in January, it was $120. So it's up $60. And then the Qian Pao. We'll probably get back to the Frigibax eventually. But let's check out the Qian Pao, though, because this is one of the cards I got, and I got it $100, and now it's $103 again. I just thought it was going to be popular. Personally, I really like the card. In January, it went down to $68. And gosh, post-release, I'm kid you not, it was popular. Look, this is when I bought. Sometime around last year, July, $134. But I'm pretty sure I got it at around $100. But yeah, went through a heavy price correction down to the 60s, and now is up in the early hundreds. So the Qian Pao, you know, it let me down. It's a beautiful card, though. I really like it. 54.8% for the Qian Pao. The single card is up the past 3 months by 24%. In January, $19, now $23. And the volume is really good. So it's definitely a popular Pokemon. There's 5 to 30 copies being sold, but it's not as popular as those OG Pokemon, Magikarp, Tyranitar, those guys. And so let's look at the Fuecoco. January, $19. It's up now to $30. Here's the Arctibax right here. Did I get the gem rate for this? There's so many cards, you guys. 18.9% for the Arctibax. There's so many cards in this set. I even like the promo in the 3-pack blisters. Really cool promo. Check it out. 3-pack blisters are probably going up in price too. Right here, $128. And in January, $102. So it's up by about $26. TCG player price is $22 right now for this card. And there's only 93 in a PSA 10. Here we have the Miss Magius. 24.2% have gotten a Gem 10. So 24% gem rate for that Gem 10 rate. Or Gem 10 grade. Right here, February, March, selling for $130 in a PSA 10. And in January, it was selling for $104. So it's up about $25 in the past 2 months, 2 to 3 months. The Masquerade has a high gem rate as well, 53.7%. So it looks like the illustration rares were more difficult to grade for this set, which is actually interesting because they don't have the texturing. And so right here, it's trending in the upper direction pretty quick. In February, $82, now $103. So I wish I would have made this video sooner, you guys, but these cards, some of these were too cheap. You know, they're trending in the upper direction. The gem rate is high at 53.7%. But in January, it was about an $80 PSA 10, and now it is $103. So this set is getting more popular overall. People are looking at the value in the cards overall for this set, and people are starting to go after those cards that haven't seen big price spikes or price growth. So they're trying to collect them or resell them. Next, we have the Heracross, 18.9% gem rate. Really low gem rate this Heracross is. And so super low gem rate at 18.9%. There's only 202 in a Gem 10 grade. Currently selling for $185. And we could see in January, it was selling for about $155. So it's up $20 to $30. The Paldean Wooper, one of the lowest gem rates right here, guys. Paldean Wooper, let's check it out. 14.1%. There's only 37 of these bad boys, and look at that price, $540. If you made it to the video, if you made it to this point in the video, shout out to you. Thank you for checking out this data with me. 37 PSA 10s. And the price, $540. Type in the comments Paldean Wooper if you've gotten this far, you guys, because that is insane. The gem rate is super low, below 19% for that Paldean Wooper. Here's the Sudowoodo kicking butt right here, $238. In January, it was sitting at around 168, 145, and quickly spiked up into the 170s, 180s, and now is off to the races at $238 for the Gem 10 Pseudo Wudo. The gem rate is 21.7%, really low. A lot of these cards are extremely low. Okay, I like how you can toggle these prices and actually track them, and it'll take you to the eBay date and sale, and even the seller, the title, everything. It'll take you to the listing, but it'll just say that it's sold already. But yeah, if you made it this far, you guys, this is a super incredible tool. PokeData.io is awesome. TCG player price for the Pyroar, $16. And if we look at the PSA 10, it looks like the PSA 10 is selling for what's the gem rate's 25%, 25.2, and still selling only for $25 in the Gem 10. So $16 or $25 to get the Gem 10. I'm pretty sure you'd rather get the Gem 10 for $26, or what was it? Oh, man, I messed it up. Yeah. $25 for the Gem 10, or would you pay $16 for the raw card? The answer is easy. Just get that Gem 10. It's already graded. There's not very many of them. But the popularity, maybe not the most popular Pokemon. Next, we have the Tinka Tuff. Tinka Tuff. I have Tinka Tink, 18.2. Here's the Tinka Tuff. They both have similar gem rates, which is crazy. They both have a population. The Tinka Tuff, 71. And so the Gem 10 rate is 18.2. PSA 10 is selling for $144. And in January, it's selling for $88. So, gosh, that thing is up 60%. That's crazy. And here's the Ice Cube, selling for $180 in a PSA 10. Ice Cube has a low gem rate of 17.1%. There's only 91 total graded in a Gem 10. And I don't know how much more we're going to get because, again, PSA changed their guidelines all of a sudden. And so it's up from January 150 to 180. Paldea Taurus, this one's expensive at $214. Beautiful artwork too. There's only 140 of these in a Gem 10, and the Paldea Taurus gem rate is 22.2%. In January, was selling for $129. Now it's up to $214. So gosh, you guys, $70 to $80 gain on the PSA 10. The Quaquaval, I got this guy in a raw copy a long time ago when the set came out, and I thought he was cool. And then I was like, you know what? He's okay. He's okay. Personally, I like Skeledirge more now. But the Gem 10, $72, and January was selling for $51. So it's up about $20 in the past 3 months. And the TCG player price right here, we got $14.90. The Florigato Gem 10 price right now is $141. It's been staying pretty flat. In January, it was basically the same at $134. So only about a $7 gain. There's only 111 of the Florigatos. It is a really pretty artwork, I will admit. And the gem rate is only 18%. So maybe there's more room for this Florigato. I know $130 is expensive. Gosh, that's almost MSRP for booster boxes. And that used to be the MSRP, nearly the MSRP back in Sword and Shield was $143. So PSA 10, Florigato, maybe it has more room, maybe it doesn't. Here's the Squawkabilly. January was selling in a Gem 10 slab for $50. Now it's $62, so it's up $12 in the past 3 months. The Squawkabilly gem rate is 40.3. Next, we have this Gothorita. Actually, really cool artwork. PSA 10 price, $125. It was more expensive back in January at $149. So maybe that's because it's not that popular. There's only 69 of these Gothoritas or Gothoritas. And the Gothorita has a gem rate of only 18.6%. Next, we have the Farigiraf. Price point for the PSA 10, $70. There's only 45 of these. And the gem rate is 17.2%. So you guys, booster boxes have been on a tear since December it was $148. January we managed to get up to $200 right here, dropped down to 192, dropped down to 191. So you can see how popular this set has been. The volume right here, you have 20 booster boxes still being sold every few days. Early on, Scarlet and Violet, and we were getting Twilight Masquerade, Temporal Forces. And then once Surging Sparks came out and we still hadn't gotten reprints for this set, there was a ton of supply for this set. But then people, all of a sudden were like, you know what? We haven't gotten reprints. Let's start buying. And people on YouTube started talking about Paldea Evolved. And so now it's gotten the love it deserves. There's so many illustration rares. There's so much value. And I think investors were right on this one as a great investment. And personally, not my favorite set. I like Twilight Masquerade and Surging Sparks a lot more. But it's not about what I like. It's about what the market likes. And Paldea Evolved is one of the favorites right now.